Okay, let's unpack this. When you think about our ancient ancestors, what usually springs to mind? Maybe some basic stone tools, simple survival tactics. Well, it turns out that picture might be, well, way too basic. Some recent archaeological finds are really shaking things up.
They absolutely are. It's forcing a major rethink.
We're seeing signs of sophisticated tools, complex thinking, advanced behaviors, tens of thousands of years earlier than the old timeline suggested. It's kind of rewriting our understanding of early human life.
What's fascinating here is archaeology is so dynamic. It's not just digging things up. It's this constant process of discovery and, crucially, reevaluation. These new finds don't just add a little piece to the puzzle. Sometimes they make us redraw the whole picture.
Redraw our picture of how smart and capable early hominins actually were.
Precisely. Their intelligence, their skills. It's like finding completely new chapters in a history book you thought you knew. It reveals a much richer, more complex story than we often give them credit for.
Exactly. And that's really our mission for this deep dive. We want to distill the key takeaways from some of these really astonishing recent finds, findings that are flipping that old basic hunter-gatherer idea on its head. You're going to hear about some surprising technology, advanced thinking, even complex social stuff way back in the Stone Age. We'll look at innovations in tools, weapons, across different continents. It tells this amazing story of ingenuity, adaptation, and maybe even conflict. So yeah, get ready for some aha moments. So let's dive in with the first one. A discovery about, well, an iconic weapon, the boomerang, but much, much older than you might think. About 40 years back, in a Bizowa cave in Poland, archaeologists found this amazing collection of stuff. There were human bones, pendants made from fox teeth, stone tools, all covered in red ochre. You know that pigment often linked to rituals or burials.
Symbolic stuff.
And right there among it all was this unusual curved object made of ivory. Initially, back in 96, they dated it to about 18,000 years old, which even then felt, well, unexpectedly young for something potentially so complex.
Right, that unexpectedly young date was a bit of a puzzle. And it raised concerns specifically about contamination. Things like old glues, conservation materials used maybe decades ago when it was first found. Could they have skewed the results?
Ah, okay. So they needed to double check.
Exactly. Rigorously. So new analyses were done. But carefully, they didn't want to damage the boomerang itself. It's unique. Instead, they used DNA and radiocarbon dating on other things found in the exact same layer.
Smart. Like what?
Well, a human finger bone that dated to at least 31,000 years old, and also a cluster of animal bones, which came back around 41,500 years old.
Wow, much older.
Much older. So they took these dates, combined them with a precise archaeological context, used a statistical model to figure out the boomerang's most likely age. And the result? It was likely carved somewhere between 42,365 and 39,355 years ago.
So basically, 40,000 years old.
Roughly 40,000 years old. A massive jump. Makes it significantly older and quite possibly the oldest boomerang ever found anywhere.
40,000 years. That's just incredible. And the design itself sounds impressive. You said it was about 28 inches long, 72 centimeters.
Yeah, it's a substantial piece.
Here's where it gets really interesting. This wasn't like the boomerangs you see in cartoons, the kind that come back.
No, definitely not. This was a non-returning boomerang.
Yeah.
Heavier, built for impact.
Impact. Meaning for hunting, or even fighting.
Precisely. Think hunting large game, or possibly interpersonal conflict.
Yeah.
Paula Veldenowak, one of the researchers, pointed out its features, the arch shape, flat convex cross-section.
Okay, so flat on one side, curved on the other, for flight.
Exactly, crucial for aerodynamics and stability. Those features, and its overall size, perfectly match the kind of heavy hunting boomerangs Aboriginal Australians in Queensland still use. Tools designed to hit hard.
Wow. So 40,000 years ago, Homo sapiens in Europe were crafting these sophisticated, specialized projectile weapons from mammoth ivory.
That's the takeaway. It shows an astonishing level of skill, a deep understanding of materials, physics, aerodynamics, really. It points to significant cognitive advancements. It required abstract thought, planning, serious engineering, far beyond just basic survival tools.
And Veldenowak contrasted this with Neanderthal tools found lower down in the same cave.
He did. He noted that this kind of complex design seems distinct from the Neanderthal layers, suggesting maybe a difference in technological approach or capability between the groups at that time.
It really challenges you, doesn't it? What does this tell you about the problem-solving abilities, the sheer ingenuity of our ancestors that long ago?
It tells us we've likely underestimated them for a long time.
Absolutely fascinating. Makes you wonder what else is buried out there.
Okay, so from boomerangs in Europe, let's shift continents and timelines. Let's talk about long-range hunting specifically, arrowheads. There's a site called Obi Rakhmat in Uzbekistan. Archaeologists there found these tiny, tiny stone points, micropoints.
Apparently they were initially overlooked, partly because many were broken, but the age they're now suggesting, it's staggering.
It really is. The estimate is around 80,000 years old.
80,000. That would make them the oldest known arrowheads by, what, about 6,000 years?
Potentially, yes. Predating other contenders significantly.
So how certain are they these tiny broken bits were actually arrowheads?
Well, that's a fair question. As one of the researchers, Andrei Krivoshabkin, pointed out, they haven't found preserved bows or arrow shafts from that long ago. That's incredibly rare. But the indirect evidence is strong. First, their size and shape, they're extremely narrow. Just too small, really, to be hafted effectively onto, say, a spear. They seem designed for thin shafts like arrows.
Okay, and what else?
The damage. They show specific types of fractures and wear patterns. Micro-wear analysis suggests high-velocity impact damage.
Like hitting something fast and hard.
Exactly. Consistent with being shot from a bow, not thrown like a spear.
This raises an important question. If these are 80,000-year-old arrowheads, who made them?
Ah, yes. The big puzzle.
Because 80,000 years ago, Central Asia, that was mainly Neanderthal territory, right?
Generally considered so, yes. But we don't have any other solid evidence, none that I know of, suggesting Neanderthals independently developed or widely used bows and arrows.
So what are the possibilities? Could it have been Neanderthals after all? A local innovation we just didn't know about?
It's possible. Or could it be early Homo sapiens moving into the area, maybe migrating from the Levant, bringing this technology with them?
Or something else. Didn't they find some ambiguous remains there too?
They did. Some child remains that make the hominin identification at the site a bit tricky. It raises the possibility, however remote, of maybe even a hybrid population. It adds another layer of complexity.
Wow. So whoever made them, the implications are huge.
Absolutely. As Christian Tryon, another archaeologist, noted, this suggests that complicated early weapons and hunting technologies were more geographically widespread at an earlier date than previously supposed.
Meaning advanced tech wasn't just limited to one place or one time.
Exactly. And having bow and arrow technology that early, it would give any group a massive advantage. Safer hunting, more efficient hunting, maybe an edge in competition for resources too.
It really hammers home that idea that we consistently underestimate the abilities of our ancestors.
We really do. We keep finding evidence that pushes back the timeline for complex behaviors.
Okay, so we've seen incredible skill in making hunting weapons, but ancient life wasn't just about the hunt, right? What about other food? Our next discovery takes us to foraging, and it's something truly rare. We're talking about wooden tools.
Yes, gantonking, a remarkable find.
This is in southwestern China. Archaeologists there found 35 wooden tools, and the age, get this, 300,000 years old.
300,000, just let that sink in.
That makes them the oldest wooden tools of their kind found in East Asia. And finding wood that old is almost unheard of, isn't it? Usually just rots away.
Completely. Organic materials rarely survive that long. The only reason these did is because they were preserved in waterlogged, oxygen-poor clay sediments near an ancient lakeshore. It's exceptional preservation.
So what were these tools? What do they tell us?
Well, there were several types. Sturdy digging sticks made from pine and hardwood. There were also hooks, maybe for cutting or pulling up roots, and some smaller pointed tools as well. Their main purpose seems clear: to harvest underground food resources. Things like tubers, rhizomes, maybe corms. Starchy stuff hidden underground.
And they weren't just crude sticks, right? There was craftsmanship involved.
Definitely. The researchers noted deliberate polishing and scraping marks on them. This wasn't just picking up a random branch. It shows advanced craftsmanship and, importantly, considerable foresight. They were shaped for a specific job.
Okay, I want to focus on that foresight bit, the idea of planning, because the researchers suggest these tools point to planned visits to the lakeshore specifically to dig up these plants.
Exactly. It implies resource management, knowing where to go, when to go, and having the right tools ready. It shows advanced cognitive skills, not just reacting to hunger, but planning ahead to secure food.
So what does this all mean? How does this change the view of hominins in East Asia 300,000 years ago?
Well, it provides a fascinating contrast. In Europe, around that time, we see sites like Schöningen in Germany, famous for its wooden spears used for hunting large animals.
Right, the big game hunters.
Yes. But Gantanking suggests a different, perhaps complementary strategy in East Asia, a unique plant-based survival strategy, focusing on these underground resources. And Bo Lai, the lead author, made a really important point. This discovery challenges that old idea that East Asian hominins were somehow technologically conservative, especially compared to Europe or Africa.
Because their stone tools looked simpler.
Often, yes. But that view might be skewed because we just haven't found the other tools, the ones made of organic materials like wood, that didn't survive.
So this gives us a glimpse into a whole other side of their technology and adaptability.
Precisely. It shows a deep, nuanced understanding of their local environment and the resources available and the ingenuity to exploit them effectively. Makes you wonder what else we're missing, doesn't it? All those tools that simply turn back into dust.
It really does. A humbling thought. Okay, so we've seen ingenuity, planning, sophisticated tool use for hunting and foraging. But ancient life wasn't always peaceful cooperation or clever survival. Our next find turns to a darker but equally revealing aspect: evidence of violence.
Yes. The skeleton from Thung Bin One Cave in Vietnam, TBH1.
Right. This was a man dated to about 12,000 years ago, died relatively young, maybe around 35.
That's the estimate. And initially, his skeleton looked pretty healthy, generally speaking, but then they found something specific.
What was it?
He had an anatomical anomaly, a supernumerary rib, basically an extra rib up near his neck. Not uncommon, actually.
Okay. But what was wrong with it?
That extra rib was fractured, and not just broken, but it showed clear signs of a nasty long-term infection. There was even a gap in the bone, likely where pus was draining from the infection site.
So he didn't die instantly from the injury?
No. The bone changes suggest he survived the initial trauma for quite some time, possibly months, but he likely succumbed eventually to that severe bacterial infection. Without antibiotics or effective treatment, it would have been agonizing.
And they found something else near the injury, didn't they? The potential cause.
Yes, this is the crucial part. Near that infected rib, they found a tiny, triangular micropoint made of quartz. It had notches, suggesting it was used as a barb on a projectile.
Like an arrowhead.
Exactly like an arrowhead, embedded near where the fatal injury occurred. But here's the kicker.
Go on.
The quartz itself was described as exotic. Its geological signature, its makeup doesn't match any other stone tools found at that site. Thung Bun 1, or even nearby sites. It came from somewhere else.
Somewhere else, so not a hunting accident with a locally made arrow.
That combination, the specific injury, the chronic infection, and a weapon point made from non-local materials strongly suggests this wasn't an accident.
It points towards violence between people.
It strongly implies interpersonal violence, possibly conflict between different groups, given the exotic material. As Michael Rivera, a bioarchaeologist commenting on the find noted, proving violence versus accident definitively from skeletal remains alone can be tough sometimes.
Sure.
But that exotic arrowhead, it really tips the scales towards conflict. This could push back solid evidence for intergroup violence among hunter-gatherers in Southeast Asia by thousands of years.
Wow, that's significant. Did they say how he was buried?
Interestingly, yes. Despite the violent way he likely died, TBH1 was apparently buried quite carefully within the cave.
So maybe conflict with outsiders, but still care from his own community.
It suggests that, yes, a complex picture of ancient social dynamics, conflict, and care existing side by side.
Wow. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here, from amazing ingenuity to careful planning, and now evidence of brutal conflict. Let's just quickly recap for everyone listening. We started with that incredible 40,000-year-old mammoth tusk boomerang from Poland.
Showing sophisticated projectile tech early on.
Then the potentially 80,000-year-old arrowheads from Uzbekistan, pushing back long-range hunting.
Right, and raising questions about who made them.
Then those amazingly preserved 300,000-year-old wooden digging tools from China, revealing planned foraging strategies.
Showing a different kind of technological sophistication.
And finally, this poignant 12,000-year-old evidence from Vietnam suggesting early interpersonal conflicts using an exotic weapon.
Yeah, a darker side, but just as important for understanding their lives.
So if we try and synthesize all this, what's the big picture takeaway?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, I think the main takeaway is that our view of ancient human societies just has to be more complex, more nuanced. These discoveries collectively paint a picture of our ancestors being far more technologically advanced, cognitively capable, and socially intricate than that old, basic hunter-gatherer stereotype allows.
So less primitive, more strategically intelligent.
Exactly. We're seeing themes of incredible adaptability, constant innovation, impressive foresight, highly specialized skills, and complex social interactions, which clearly included cooperation and planning, but also at times conflict. They were strategic thinkers, deeply understanding and shaping their world.
It really is amazing. Archaeology just keeps revealing these layers, constantly challenging our assumptions about what it meant to be human way back when.
It does. The pace of discovery is exciting.
It makes the past feel much more dynamic, doesn't it? This constant reevaluation, finding these surprising capabilities.
Absolutely. And it leads to further questions, naturally.
Like what?
Well, this raises an important question. If these complex tools, these planned behaviors, this evidence of conflict, if they were around so much earlier and perhaps more widely distributed than we used to think, what other aspects of ancient human life, maybe social structures, communication, art, belief systems, might we still be dramatically underestimating?
What else is waiting out there?
Exactly. What else is hidden in those layers of time that could completely reshape our understanding of where we came from and the true depth of ancient human capability?
That's a fantastic thought to leave everyone with, a reminder that the story of humanity is still being uncovered. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into some truly mind-bending ancient innovations. Keep exploring, keep asking questions. Every discovery really does add a new perspective to our shared story.